friend, one of the most finest actors that I have great respect for. Admire, a lot of performance. But now that I've worked with him, I used to admire him and respect him. But now that we have worked together for our film, I think what you brought to the film was brilliance and professionalism, and also a kind of magic which only can come from heart and not from craft.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for doing that. And these are the students which are wanting to be the future Anupam Kher and Iain Glen of the world. I would like you to share with you that how easy or how difficult it is to be that.
No, it's not easy, you know, but when I began acting, I wasn't thinking about whether it was easy or it wasn't easy. I was lucky. I went to the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, which is a drama school in London, similar like this. And they, you know, before you left, I did a 3-year course. They tried to instill in you that it was going to be difficult, because what you enjoy here is a kind of, you know, a protected sanctuary where you get to try things and you get to experience being in plays and working on speeches, and you're in a safe place. And then the hard thing is you go out into the big world, and sometimes you're doing nothing for a very, very long time, and sometimes you're struggling to get that advert with, you know, 100 other people, an advert that you don't even really particularly want, or it's not asking much of you as an actor. So it's riding that you know, that period. I was very, very lucky, and perhaps Sir Anupam was as well, in that when I left RADA, I'd got their sort of gold medal, their top award, and I went straight into television. I left RADA, I had the gold medal, I had an equity card, and I took off rather quickly. But I went in front of a camera, which is not what RADA prepared you for. It was all to do with theatre. But the transition is not so. I don't know if you talk about that here, the difference between stage acting and film acting.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. I was lucky. I sort of began, and I wasn't really aware how difficult it would be, but I think, and as I say, I was lucky. But you've got to really, really want to do it. You've got to want to do it for the right reasons. You've got to want to do it because you love to inhabit this scene that you're in. You love the feeling of playing different people. You've got to that's got to be really the reason that you want to do it. When I first went on stage, I was at university. The feeling I had when I was on stage and I was pretending to be some was like just a really sexy feeling that made me feel excited, and I felt that people were believing what I was doing, but I was pretending, whatever situation I was pretending, I was inhabiting that situation. I had not an idea in my head about fame. I had no idea in my head. I didn't even really know that it could be a profession. I didn't know you could earn a living from it. The moment I started doing it, I just had a sensation inside. Now, if you have that sensation, if you have that feeling that when you're working on a speech and you're firing your imagination, you're trying to find that way of doing this speech that feels natural if it needs to be natural, or funny if it needs to be funny, whatever it is, that's what you need. And if you need to love that feeling. And if you're in any way doing it because you like the idea of people knowing who you are, or you like the idea of you know, fame or money, it's going to be much, much harder for you, because you're going to be looking at it from the wrong side.
They think, or anybody else who comes to the drama school, that somebody who has made it had better luck.
Yeah, yeah.
And maybe luck got him or her there rather than hard work.
Yeah, I think there is an element of luck. you know, there's an element of luck that you happen to be in the right place at the right time sometimes. But luck will only get you so far. It's hard. So luck plays an element, but it's hard work. It's really, you've just got to work hard. You've also, and I think this is really important, and it's important whether you're successful or not successful, you've got to be good to work with. You've got to be easy. You've got to do it with a smile, and you've got to not create problems, and it can't be difficult. It can't be a neurotic process. You come to work, you're on time, you do the work, and you leave every job with every director saying, he was really good to work with. I enjoyed working with him. I really liked, that was good fun. Every producer, not a problem.
And it has nothing necessarily to do with talent. It's how your behavior is.
It's just, yeah, just a behavior thing, you know. And as well as, you know, you hopefully, you blow them away with what you're acting, or you do the job, you do it well. But you're also, you know, you're easy. And I've spent a lot of time, 40 plus years working, and you bump into people and think you're hard work, man. You're really, really hard work. And you're an actor that's kind of just sucking up all the energy of the set and taking time for themselves and being selfish and self-absorbed. And I can see that. I can see the directors and thinking, you know, I'm just not going to work with them again. So that's important, being easy to work with, as well as working really, really hard.
Did you audition for Game of Thrones?
I did audition for Game of Thrones.
So after doing RADA and so many...
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. That's what you need to know.
Well, no, I did. And the great thing is, you know, however I think I'm perceived in, in London and the UK, the Americans come into town, they don't know you. They're not going to know you. So you've got to begin again. Again, you can't be grand about, no, I don't read for things. I don't audition, no. If you want this job, you're going to have to read for it. So, okay. And I remember the showrunners were guys called Dan and David, very cool East Coast Americans. And we sat and there were two scenes, one which was in the pilot episode, and there was just a scene taken out of context. That's really hard sometimes as an actor. Everything that I've talked to you about is how you build a performance. They'll drop you a scene out of a void that you've got no reference point, say, okay, that's the scene. You think, okay, so you kind of have to make it up, create a history for whatever you're playing. And I could sense that Sir Jorah was this man who was obviously, he was a big defender of this beautiful princess, was all I knew about. The books had been written. The book had been written, and I went out, I read the books. I read that first book in relation to this character, flicked through. And so I had a bit more information, and I could see what this scene related to, so that maybe gave me a bit of a starter. And I did the audition, and afterwards, you know, they were there, and I did it, and I came out, I thought, yeah, I've got that. That felt really good. I felt really good about that, which I certainly don't often feel. And then I left, and then you're calling your agent saying, yeah, no, I mean, you were only in half an hour ago. We've had no news, no. So, and then, you know, weeks passed. Weeks, yeah. And I thought, and they were all really close. Yeah, no, apparently they really like what you did, but there's someone else in the picture. Okay. So, and then eventually, and this was before Game of Thrones was Game of Thrones, you know, it was like, this was just another job. And we had no idea it was going to go where it went. But I still wanted it, and there was a buzz. HBO coming to the UK, it was big, and it was going to be a big series. It was going to be 10 episodes, and hopefully it was going to carry on. So, yeah, and then eventually I got the call, and they said, yeah, they want you to do it. Years later, do you know the actor Liam Cunningham? He played Sir Davos in Game of Thrones. He's one of the other central characters, and he's from Ireland. He said, Ian, did you hear it was me that was up for that part? I said, what? Yeah, it was between me and you. Anyway, and I said, what? I didn't know that, Liam. He said, yeah. Anyway, you know, I got a different part. I got a better part. So, but it was. So yeah, you have to hold your breath. And again, that's an example of you have no idea every job you do where it might go, because Game of Thrones did not look good to begin with, and then we just got luckier and luckier. Yeah.
Yeah. You have been working for so many years. It's to sustain. What is it, that one thing that they will need to, that, as you said, that how do you approach a scene will decide, a casting director will look at it and say, oh, he or she has done it differently.
Yeah, yeah.
How do you think that they will encounter disappointments after disappointment? Because they are going to be there.
Sure, sure. I come from the UK, and our tradition is theatrical. And so it's the engagement with the writing. You're going to have a piece of writing, or you're going to do a role in Shakespeare. Say it doesn't matter what you're going to do. But the way you look at that role, and the way that you want to do that role, and how that fires your imagination, is what's going to give you a good performance. Because there's 1,000 other actors that could play the same role, that have played the same role, if it's Shakespeare. And so they've got to see what you bring to it. And so your relationship with the text, your relationship with that role is everything. Listen, it's hard. It's hard. And you know, I have many friends and actors who I work with that I admire a great deal, who spend so much time out of work. And you know, I live in, if I could be born again an actor, I mean, I'm speaking from a European point, I would choose to be born British, because we have a great culture of theatre, film, TV. It's all in the same mix. I don't know. Yeah. The thing that's got to keep you going is your, as I say, your kind of love for the feeling, love for doing it.
How do you make yourself feel good when just because somebody is successful,
yeah,
doesn't mean I'm supposed to be successful for the last so many years.
Yeah.
But I have my lows, I have my disappointments,
yeah,
I have my so on.
Yeah.
How do you make yourself feel? By the way, I must tell you that he was gracious enough to accept a role in the film that I'm directing. I'm going to tell you that he was almost after my life for 20 days to send me scenes. Now, I was working on the scenes, so I thought, so I asked him, I said, okay, I'll send you. I said, why are you so, this thing, means I'm supposed to send you. He said, because I want to be prepared.
It's true. I mean, I was going to say, it's, you know, I don't, instinctively, I do not like being looked at as me. I don't like being in front of a camera. I don't like being on stage. I only like being on stage when I know what I'm doing, when I'm happy, when I get to a place and I can feel the transition inside me, where I suddenly feel, now it's not I want to show it, I have to show it. I have to show what I've worked on, but it's about hard work. And actors have different processes, but mine is one in which I need to look at the lines, and I look at the lines, and I look at the lines, and I don't ever go, is that the line? I literally look at the scene so many times that I know it. And a point comes where I know it. And then I'm playing in my own way. Film's hard, because theatre, you have this rehearsal. And film, you kind of have to do all that sort of stuff for yourself. And you have to create the arc of whatever your character is. And you come in at any moment. You'll do the end first and then the beginning. So I'm building this little picture in my head. But each line, privately on my own, you know, sometimes you're doing it out loud, sometimes you're just thinking it through. But I get to a point where I know the line. I probably read the script, I don't know, at least 100 times reading it. And that's why I needed to know what the words were.
Exactly, that's what you just said it.
Yeah.
100 times. I tell them 1,000 times.
Yeah, that's why I needed the script, because if it's, and then you go, oh, well, maybe I'm changing that. Oh, yeah. I was, you know, I knew, and that's fine. And you have to be malleable as an actor and do different things. But that, again, it's connected to not wanting to be famous, not wanting to be successful. Is I want to show me being this person. I want to inhabit this role, but I really need to know what I'm doing. And when I know what I'm doing, I feel very playful. I can I can try different things. I feel confident. And this is getting a little bit technical, but it's true. It's the way that I think about it. Is that what you're trying to do as an actor? You're trying to do the thing that I'm doing now, which is I'm having the thoughts that I'm having, and I'm expressing myself through the words that are coming into my head. And it's a very kind of, you don't break it down. It's a very organic thing that happens. And I'm me, people are different, but I'm not spending a lot of time going, the words are coming and I'm saying it. And the reason they're coming and saying it is because I know the English language and the thoughts are coming and I'm expressing them. What you have to do in a play, the game you're playing, is you're looking at a piece of writing and you're learning it to the point that when I say one line and I get to the end of that line, the other line's going to be in my head and it's going to come out. And that line's not going to come out in a dialogue scene until you say your line. And it's only your line that makes me say my line. And it's a tennis match in which you bat it. But if I'm thinking, what's my line? What am I saying? Oh, I say that bit. I'm ready for my next line. My next line's coming up. When they get to the end, I've got my cue. My cue is his last word. Then I'm going to say my line. I've said my line. What's my next line? Oh yeah, I've got my. And I've just got this fury in my head that is got absolutely nothing to do with the scene that I'm trying to play. It's got nothing to do with it at all. So that process of learning and learning and learning is so that with great facility, without effortlessly, the word's going to come. I know what I'm going to say. And then if I know the thought, then I can find different ways of expressing it. The words are not going to change, but the way that I can say it can be varied. And it can be changed by what you do. And if you say the line differently, then, if you're suddenly angry in a moment, then I need to react to that, and I need to be changed. So do you understand what I mean? The actual technical thing of knowing the line gives you the facility to be playful with it. And that is very connected to, as I say, this I don't want to be in front of a camera unless I know what I'm doing, unless I'm comfortable, I've done the work. The one thing I love about acting, there is not a single aspect of life that should not relate to what I do all the time. It seems to me the perfect fit. It's why I love it more than, and I think it's the greatest profession in the world. There is nothing about the world that should not be of interest to us as people, because we have no idea what it is we're going to be trying to portray. We have no idea of the next story that we're about to tell. And people, how people are, how they behave, what they, how they do, how they hide their feelings, how they show their feelings, how they, all that is fascinating, and it's never ending. It's like a bottomless pool that you look at, humanity, how people behave in different situations. So, when I was at RADA, I remember I used to go to a local park, and I would always be working on a role, and and something, and I would sit in a park for hours on end and just watch people, and then someone would walk, and I would think, that is the gate. That feels like the gate of the person that feels that I think that's really right, and I would kind of stand up, and I would, if it was whoever it was playing, and I think, okay. So, and I follow them, and I used to quite get good at physically doing, and I'd say, okay, so he's kind of hairy, he's kind of very distracted, he's very isolated, and I'd start following the person. I would leap off the thing and start walking around the park with them. Hopefully they wouldn't turn around and follow. But a kind of physicality, a kind of, people are direct, they're indirect, they're extrovert, they're introvert, they're whatever, they're heavy, they're light, they're frenetic, they're still, whatever. And so it's just a curiosity about life that is a perfect fit for any story that you may be about to tell.
Today's generation does not want to be wrong.
No.
While performing. They don't want to be wrong, for any other lack of word that I'm saying the word. They don't want to make a fool of themselves.
Yeah, make mistakes.
So because of that, they become ordinary.
Yeah.
Because I personally feel an actor should be ready to make a fool of himself completely.
Definitely.
That's
definitely.
how you.
Yeah.
But because of the social media, because of everything, they see a life on Instagram, which is so perfect, or everybody else's life.
Yeah.
But you have to be a person who will make a complete fool of himself, so that that issue is gone.
Yeah.
I, as an actor, never felt that I need to be judged
Yeah.
when I'm preparing.
Yeah.
And I think whatever I learned from him in the last 5 days was, when he did the first scene, Pallavi Joshi, who's a very, very fine actress, and I have greatest regards for her as an actress. When she looked at you and you did the full scene in one go, she said, "Excuse me, can I go to my vanity van to just go through my lines all over again?" That's how every day we will to finish at 7 o'clock, we'll finish at 5 o'clock, because our actor was so wonderfully prepared and so brilliant. Prepared does not mean being mechanical, prepared being brilliant. So thank you for coming to the school, and thank you for being part of Tanvi the Great. I really, really I'm thankful to you, and thank you for coming on a Sunday, but this Sunday is the richest Sunday that you will have in your entire life.